the new Buff Dude tank top.
Whoa, that's dope! Whoa!
www.buffdudes.us. Flashback to the summer of 2003, a simpler time. Junko jeans and 64 megabyte MP3 players ruled the world, and in this era of awkwardness, the Buff Dudes were formed, quickly learning saggy pants and squats don't mix.
Going into the gym, you learn a lot of things. And over the course of the years that me and my brother Brandon have been going to the gym, we've learned a lot of things and we've also made quite a few mistakes. So today in this video, we're gonna be going over the mistakes we made that we wish we would have avoided, and we're gonna be telling you those mistakes so hopefully you can avoid them too. Let's get started.
Yo, what's up, dog?
I'm not a dog, I'm your dad.
Yeah, whatever. I was wondering, how do you go post on those weights, yo? Gotta get these sweet gains.
What are those garbage bags you're wearing?
It's not garbage bags, it's Junkos.
Junk is right.
Junk, well, they cost $400, and you paid for them on your credit card.
Ego lifting, one that I sadly fell for when I was younger. Again, I was taking weight training classes in high school, and I would typically be pretty strong on the decline press. So I remember this girl stepped into class, and I kind of looked over, I saw her, she's pretty cute, and I went ahead and put in my max weight on, 225 pounds at that point, which, was a lot for me, and I felt pretty good, I felt pretty confident I could do it. But as soon as I unloaded the bar, I brought it down, and I couldn't get it up. And unfortunately, it was a very embarrassing moment. And I don't know what she was going through her head, but through my head, it was probably red, and I was just like, got those like hot ears and stuff. And thankfully a buddy of mine, he came over and spotted me and lifted the bar up so I didn't kill myself. But yeah, it was definitely a learning lesson. Don't ego lift, because it's really just not good in the end. And not only for showing off, but it could obviously cause a lot of injury in the long run, and you're not really gonna be learning proper form. So make sure you just keep it light, don't show off. And it's more about the feeling, getting that proper form down, and slowly progressing from there.
Hey Dad, teach me how to squat.
Wow, why are you wearing a stocking cap? It's 104 degrees out.
Because I haven't hit my growth spurt yet and I'm an insecure teenager. It's limp again, isn't it?
You're eating too much healthy food. And that can sound really strange, but that's exactly what I did. Because when I was a teenager, I would do things like do a super intense workout, go for really long bike rides, and then I would reward myself with what I thought was healthy food, which was whole wheat bread, peanut butter, honey, and of course they are good, but in moderation. I was just having way too much of it, and the sad thing is, I wasn't really making any progress, which was really unmotivating for me. So what I started to do was I would track my calories, I would track my macronutrients, which is of course proteins, carbs, and fats. And when I started to moderate those and realize how much I was having, that really helped me out like crazy. And I saw the best results I'd ever had. So remember that just because you're eating healthy, you could still be eating too much of it. So you just wanna have a good idea in mind of how much food you're having. Only really performing exercises that are comfortable, like bench press or barbell curls, one that feels good and also makes you look better too, as far as getting a nice pump in the gym. One thing that is always neglected is gonna be legs, because of course, let's say squats for instance, big compound movement, can feel very uncomfortable, very unstable, especially when you're first starting out. When I took weight training class, I would always kind of shy away from squats, because when you get under that bar and you have everyone kind of looking at you, you feel unsure about yourself, and your confidence level kind of takes a dump because you don't want to look stupid, you don't want to fail. But failure is one thing that can be actually very good for you, because you can progress from there and only get better. But the problem is, the longer you neglect those kind of things, let's say squats or just legs in general, the worse the imbalances start to get, because your upper body continues to develop and your lower body doesn't. So later on down the line, it's going to be more work for you to kind of catch up and make sure you're symmetrical. So never neglect legs. That's probably, a pretty common phrase we usually say, but definitely one to remember. Working your ass off but not staying consistent. I had suffered from this one for years. You get really motivated, you're going in the gym, you're working your ass off, and I'm not gonna lie, working out is not easy. And when you've done it for a while, you sometimes think you need to take a little bit of a vacation from it, which can be a good thing from time to time. But my problem was, is that I would binge on working out and then I would purge myself. And that was not good because I would notice a yo-yo effect would start to happen. I would get in good shape, I would get out of shape, and then I'd have to work twice as hard to get back into shape. Rinse and repeat. It just kept happening over and over again. So as the older I got, the more I realized take a little bit more motivation. You could still work hard. You have to listen to your body and rest from time to time, but don't take extended breaks, because the longer you take a break from it, sometimes the harder it is to get back into it.
There's nothing like the feeling of going to the gym for the first time and kind of seeing the sights. You hear the noises, the smells, the sounds, and it just really motivates you to want to keep coming back. I mean, watching my brother work out, my dad work out, I wanted to join in and I wanted to go more and more. It's a very addictive feeling. And I figured the more the better. The more I work out, the more results I'll get. And unfortunately, I didn't realize that you're not getting results from actually lifting the weights themselves. You're actually getting the results after you lift the weights. So the rest, the recuperation, that's really gonna help you get those results. Of course, you wanna hit it hard, but just because you're going into the gym every single day doesn't mean that you're actually gonna get faster results. Sometimes less is more, making sure the body's gonna heal, recuperate, and get better. So that is one thing that I learned, is more is not better, because overtraining is definitely a real thing, and that can be pretty detrimental to how you progress and your results in the gym.
Emulating someone too extensively and then getting depressed when you don't see those exact results. I think now more than ever, that's really the case for a lot of people. It was for me back in the day. I would look at people such as Steve Reeves maybe, and you would see their physiques and go, oh my God, those guys look amazing. I wanna look like them. And you just have to realize that sometimes your genetics are different from their genetics. Myself, I don't have the waistline, I don't have the shoulders of someone like, let's say, such as a Steve Reeves, and that's something that can depress you at the time, but you just have to get comfortable in your own skin, because you can look great in your own way, and sometimes it's really having to come face to face with that and say, I'm my own person. I'm not this person that I'm emulating. You can be inspired by them, but you're never gonna be a carbon copy of them, and that's very important to realize very early on.
Another big one for me was going into the gym at a young age and not having a plan or goal in mind. Not really knowing anything. I mean, back in those days, YouTube really wasn't around, so you couldn't log in and kind of get any information you wanted. There wasn't a lot of information online. Of course, there was books, but you really didn't know what to check out. You go to your library or whatever, you didn't really even know what to look for or what was available. So going into the gym, you'd pretty much just kind of look around and see what people were doing and cherry pick what looked good or easy or what made you feel good. And I think that's kind of a hard thing, because then you keep going in, you keep doing the same exercises because they're comfortable, and you really don't see any results. You can kind of get down on yourself, and then of course you want to quit. So thankfully, we learned pretty early on that to have a specific goal and program to follow can make it a lot easier. You can either write it out yourself, of course, or you can purchase our programs. That's why we made them, is because we've had a lot of experience of not having a goal or specific program to follow. It can be very hard, but if you have something to follow, it's easy, because you step in the gym, you know exactly what you're doing, what to do, and you can get a lot more results because of it. So yeah, definitely have a plan, have a goal, and that's gonna make all the difference.
Letting your insecurities destroy untapped potential. Especially as a beginner going into the gym. I know myself, for example, you go in, it's scary. I mean, there's all these guys, they're usually big, they're older than you. You feel like the movie where you walk in the door and everything stops and everyone kind of looks your way slowly. That can be very intimidating, and that can scare a lot of people off. So you just really have to get in the zone and realize most people are there for themselves. And you're there for yourself as well. So you really need to focus less on others, more on yourself, and give yourself time to grow, because that's exactly what this thing is. It's a growing process. It's a very long race. It really lasts for all our lives, because as we continue to grow, we're always continuing to change, and you're also fighting yourself. You're not gonna be the teenage version of yourself, the 20-year-old, the 30-year-old. You're always gonna be getting into new chapters of your life, and you're gonna have to learn to adapt accordingly. So don't be too hard on yourself, because you have a lot of potential, and it's all about learning how to utilize it properly. Okay, dudes and girls, that wraps it up. Those are the mistakes that we made. We wish we would have avoided. We hope you were able to learn a thing or two from these things, avoid them yourselves, but also remember Mistakes are inevitable. Failure is inevitable. The most important thing we can do is make those mistakes, learn from them, and become better versions of ourselves. So get in there, don't give up, stay consistent, and until next time, stay buff.
Yo, check out this new Metallica album. It's called Saint Anger.
I guess we're not the only ones who've made mistakes.